Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, Brad Pitt was attacked last night on the red carpet at the movie premiere.
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and to be fair, I just wanted to smell him.
All right, that is so creepy. I mean, what? Was he wearing some cologne you wanted to, steal from him?
Don't you think it'd be fun to hang out with Brad Pitt and Matt Damon and George Clooney? Don't you think that would be fun to do?
Leftovers, baby. Leftovers. How great would that be?
I just think that would be great. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. We will get to Lance Stephenson blowing in LeBron's ear in a moment. But we begin today with the surprising resuscitation of the Indiana Pacers last night. They rode 37 points by Paul George, 21 in the fourth quarter, to a narrow victory over the Miami Heat, forcing a Game 6. Notably for Miami, LeBron James played only 24 minutes because of persistent foul trouble and scored only 7 points, a career low. Wilbon, you were there. Which had the bigger impact, LeBron's foul trouble or George's star-like performance?
Well, Tony, the result isn't the result without both things. You know, the Pacers don't win without Paul George playing the way he did. He was fabulous. He was let me refer back to yesterday, superstar last night.
I'll get to, I will rebut this in a second, but go ahead.
He was a
Continue.
superstar last night.
Okay.
He was a superstar. And the result is not the result without LeBron James, with 7 points and just not being out there and having no rhythm in the fourth quarter when he got back out there. I thought they were going to win the Pacers by more than that because LeBron hit that 1-3, Tony, but he had no rhythm. He had no sweat going. It just wasn't going to happen. So I'm not going to separate these things. There's no result. The series is not going back to Miami without both those things being in effect.
But the question is, which had the bigger impact? I'm going to give you this. This is a commentary show, and it's an opinion show. I sometimes get things wrong. I got it wrong about Paul George. He was a star last night. You got 21 in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. You are a star. On the other hand, LeBron couldn't really guard him because he already had 5 fouls. The bigger impact was LeBron James going 24 minutes and scoring 7 points. He had half a game. Paul George has scored 39 in playoff games before.
Yeah.
LeBron James has never scored 7. I mean, he's not out there. And when he is out there, he can't guard anybody. He's out of the game. You think the NBA likes that? That their best players out of the game?
Here's what the NBA likes, and here's what our bosses like. ESPN is going to have a Friday night Game 6 out of Miami, okay, in the Eastern Conference Finals, as opposed to not, or softball, or something else.
Are you alleging a conspiracy?
No, I'm saying, you talk about does the NBA like it. I told you what the NBA likes, and I told you what our bosses like, because they're all in partnership. But let me just say this.
Ed Malloy called 3 fouls on LeBron.
Well, Tony, that's just it.
Ended the game.
Paul George said there was home cooking. Do you think he helped his team in that way?
Well, yeah, he said it, and everybody said he was stupid when he said it. And now what happened was they got it. Yeah, they got home cooking.
Helped his team, didn't he?
That game, no.
That's what stars do, Tone. Superstars can help their team.
LeBron's not a star because he only had 7 points.
I'm just saying.
That ended the game.
So you look so bad on this one. Tony, let's zero in what essentially was the game's final play. LeBron's decision to pass to Chris Bosh as opposed to going past, over, or through Roy Hibbert. And we've seen, of course, LeBron take heat for passing off in situations like this earlier in his career, before he was a 2-time champ. So, Tone, does LeBron deserve any criticism now for passing to Bosh in this situation?
What we heard for a number of years when LeBron made what we both considered to be the right basketball play was that, Michael Jordan would not do that. And, Kobe Bryant would not do that. They would take the last shot. And then, as you say, LeBron won some titles, and you don't hear that anymore. And that's why I'm going to say this. He made a mistake in this particular case. He was going to the rim in a 2-point game. The worst that would have happened, as strong as he is he would have gotten fouled and a chance to make 2 and tie the game. I thought in this case, he should have kept the ball and gone up.
I agree with you again, although I'm going to say the worst that can happen is that Roy Hibbert can swat his shot. Remember, Tony, Roy Hibbert is converted against within 5 feet only 41% of the time. It's the best mark, the best defensive figure of that kind in the game.
But he was late. He was late to the play.
He was late,
He was turning and he was late.
But you know what? When you're 7'2", you can stretch your arms and not be late. So LeBron could have gotten his shot blocked. Having said that, in real time, I'm watching it, and I'm thinking LeBron is going to go up here, and there's at least a chance, even after sitting on the pine all night in his own foul trouble, that the whistle is going to go his favor.
Yes.
He's going to get 2 free throws, or he's going to make it.
Yeah.
And, you know, LeBron gets that close, Tony. He can flush it.
He's the strongest guy in the league. And look,
he is.
And I want to make this clear. I am not saying, as people said 5 years ago, this is his fatal flaw. I'm not saying that at all.
I agree with you.
Chris Bosh is in the corner from 22 feet. So far in the evening, he is 2 for 6.
Not hitting it.
That's right. So I think the odds are better. Now, if you're LeBron, you think if he hits it, we're out of here, we win. But I think in this particular case, and I'm glad to hear you agree.
I would like to have seen him put it up.
You go up.
But let's be fair about this. You and I are in the same position. LeBron James, more than anybody else, makes the right basketball play.
Yes. No argument.
He does. And in this case,
no argument.
Put it up.
Let's stay with this game to highlight its most bizarre component, Lance Stephenson's behavior. At one point, Stephenson crashed the Miami team huddle. At another, he flopped, for which he has already been fined $10,000. And most notably, he was all over LeBron, including blowing in his ear. Wilbon, Ray Allen called Stephenson's antics, quote, buffoonery. What do you call them? I
always agree on everything with Ray Allen. So he blew on his mouthpiece at one point. All right? So we're talking about it just gross. Lance Stephenson, you know what? If I was his teammate, I might like this because you're trying to get under the skin. As opposed to the previous game when he came out there and was absent. He did nothing. At least he tried to get under LeBron's skin in this case. And he played a fairly decent game, played a pretty good game. He was important to the game. So I'm not going to object to it if I'm a teammate. But if I'm the Miami Heat and he comes over in the huddle and Spoelstra lets him get away with it. Tony, this guy's a free agent, and every team out there has to be wondering. He's led the league in triple-doubles this year. Are we interested in this clown or not? It was buffoonery.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what LeBron should have done. Something we would have remembered forever, and it would forever have cast Lance Stephenson a certain way. He should have leaned over and kissed him on the cheek. That would have been great. Lance Stephenson appears to be unhinged every once in a while.
All the time.
Prior to the All-Star game, he looked like one of the best players in the league. And since then, his behavior has been odd. He gets in fights, allegedly, with Evan Turner, right? And so you're saying he's a free agent. As good as he is, you wonder, do I want this guy now? It has his behavior branded him in a bad way.
Tony, I'm going to tell you this. I had a GM tell me recently, look, we were interested in this guy. He's played his way off our board. You just can't have him. And you got to have a really strong locker room to contain him. And we talked about the fragility of Indiana all the time. We heard people talk about it. Jeff Van Gundy talked to us about that yesterday. When you have a fragile locker room, this guy he's a total wild card. Interesting story coming out of Ole Miss, Tone, where Coach Andy Kennedy is proposing doing away with fouling out of games. This comes up every few years, so it's not entirely new. But a foul creates college basketball season has renewed the discussion. So what would you want, Tony? 2 foul shots and the ball? Or, son, have a seat next to me?
Yeah, I don't like this idea. It keeps your best player in the game all the time, shortens your bench, shortens your rotation. I think it helps you recruit because you don't really have to recruit as many people. And I don't think you have to coach as hard. I'm going to tell you this. If I'm the coach and you can't foul out, and my best player gets to stay in the game all game, I'll give you the 2 foul shots every time because the disparity in talent in college is far greater than the disparity in the pros where your subs are almost as good as your regular players.
And that's why, Mr. Kornheiser, I don't want this rule in college, but I do want it in the NBA, where you talk all the time about people paying big money to come and see stars.
Yes.
Well, you can't see them if, like LeBron James, they're on the bench. So, yes, there's a price to pay. And so last night, let's apply this going back to LeBron James. If he's on the floor, if he fouls out early in the fourth quarter, he had those fouls so early, and Indiana gets 2 free throws and the ball all the time, you may say stay on out here and keep fouling. There's a strategy there for the pros. I'm with you. In college, it would be too easy. It would make it so much easier on coaches. I don't think you need to do that. So I think I agree with you again.
By the way, thank you so very much for coming back to my main point that the most important thing in last night's game was the absence of LeBron James. Not the presence of Paul George, but the absence of LeBron James.
Hey, if Paul George has scored those points, it doesn't matter. They can win without LeBron James.
Thank you.
They were leading by 11 without LeBron James. Nice for you to stay up. Did you stay awake last night when you were watching?
I did indeed. All this would do in college basketball. I did. All this would do in college basketball is create more fouls. You'll probably remember some years back the Big East went from 5 to 6. And all it did was create more fouls. People would just hack each other.
They'll go to 7. They'll go to 8.
It's why you don't. It's just not.
Pros?
Not a good idea.
Can you stand in the pros? Would you have it in the NBA?
I wouldn't have it because one of the big strategies in basketball is, can I foul him out? That's important. Tiger Woods took to his own website, as he so often does, to give a medical report on himself. He declared himself out of the U.S. Open at Pinehurst in 2 weeks. Despite missing the first 2 majors of this year, Tiger maintained, quote, "I remain very optimistic about this year and my future," unquote. Wilbon, are you similarly optimistic, or are you ready to write off yet another year for Tiger Woods?
Well, I'm not similarly optimistic because I'm not Tiger. Tiger understands where he is and what he has to do, and he's got the history that he's got.
He's chipping and putting at the moment.
Yeah, well, you know, you go from chipping and putting to full swings. I'm optimistic that Tiger will play this summer, that I get to watch Tiger Woods play this summer, because that's what I enjoy. And I don't expect him to win. I don't expect him to contend. I expect him to miss cuts and maybe get better.
Do you think he'll play the British Open at Liverpool, where he has won before?
You know, Tony, he might play, but I don't have any expectations. Do you?
No. I mean, I'm ready to write off the year. Look, here's the thing about Tiger Woods. He last won a major in 2008. It's 2014. It's a long time. An entire generation of young players in their 20s, have come up. They're not afraid of Tiger anymore because they haven't seen him beat them in a major. He's beaten them in regular tournaments. He won 5 last year, but he hasn't beaten them in a major. You get to a point, and in Tiger's case, the putting, that he hasn't putted well in so many years, and if he measures himself by majors and you can't even get into one till the British Open, if you can get into that, how do you not write off the year?
Well, you don't write it off because you're trying to get to next year. You don't get to next year just by showing up next year. But this summer has to be productive. He has to do something, Tony. He has to get his game back. He has to find maybe. How about this?
Mike,
how about if he finds his putting stroke?
We talk about next year every year.
How about if Tiger finds his putting stroke between now and September?
Great.
Then will that be a lost cause if he can just do that?
No, but again, we have this conversation about next year. This year, we're talking about next year.
I'm looking at this year. I want to see Tiger Woods play. I want to see him in the majors, whether or not he contends, and I don't expect him to. And if he found his putting stroke, as you indicate, that would bode well for beyond, like next year.
Let's take a break. But coming up, how many points will Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook combine for tonight?
Plus, over under $2 billion for the Clippers, and 1.5 more victories for my Chicago Blackhawks.
I know where you are on that one.
That's right, you do.
I do indeed.
You will.
Coming this summer, the 2014 FIFA World Cup from Brazil. Every goal.
The shot scores! The USA leads by 2!
Every save.
Here's Germany up. Steal. Closer. In the box. The shot is shot.
Every match. Wherever you are this summer, take the FIFA World Cup with you. It's on ESPN Radio and the ESPN Radio app.
Time for the game that I dominate even more than spelling bees, over under. And here is our host, Tony Reali.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Durant and Westbrook combined points. I'm laying the line over under 60.
This game is in San Antonio, where Oklahoma City has lost twice. I know they didn't have Ibaka, but they lost twice there. In those games, they went for 53 and then a very bad game of only 30. They've only gone over 60 once in a series. I think they can go over 60 because they're the two best scorers on the floor. I think they can go over 60 and still lose, and I will say over.
Yeah, Tony, going over 60 and losing is a big possibility just because the volume shooting they do. You know, they can go over 60 and win. I mean, we know that the volume shooting, particularly if other players are off, role players don't play as well in the playoffs on the road. Even starters, you know, we don't know what Reggie Jackson is going to be like tonight. I presume he's going to be out there after being injured and coming back. But we don't know if he'll be able to produce in terms of the points. Expect Ibaka to take up some of that slack. I want to push, but I'm not going to do it because it's going to anger reality.
Can't push.
I'm gonna say over. They're going to go 61 or 62. I don't know what the result's going to be, but I can't wait for that game.
Whoa. You don't get to say, I don't know what the result's going to be either.
I don't.
Who you got in the game,
question. The question was over or under. I didn't say anything. We didn't ask you
you're
the winner.
making a pick?
I did. I said they're going to go over 60 and lose.
Okay. I said they're going to go over 60. That's all the question was.
There might be some disagreement on this next one, too. Clippers, over under, $2 billion.
I am going way under $2 billion, even though Forbes today reported that Steve Ballmer has offered $1.8 billion for the Clippers. This is so much money for an NBA team, particularly a historically terrible NBA team. In the history of the NBA, the largest price ever paid for a team is $550 million paid this year, last month. And you're telling me this team is worth 4 times that? I'm going to have to see it to believe it, so I'm going under.
Reality, you know how in the previous segment Tony said it's an opinion show and I may be wrong? He majors in that, coming back later and say, I don't mind being wrong. It's not like you're going to be wrong. You're already wrong.
We'll see.
I mean, you're wrong and we even know the result of this already.
We'll see.
The point is, you got it being $700 or $800 million in the office last week when I was there, and that is so wrong because the offers are already approaching $2 billion. Right. And there's 6 or 7 people bidding on this. It's going to go right up to it and get to about 1.8 or 1.9. It's going to be under, but it's not going to be where you have it.
I said under.
You're not paying attention.
Hello.
Thanks for playing the game.
Did I say under?
You did. Wilbon sounds like he knows something here. Like he's got the money. He's putting the money up. The $2 billion.
Hey, how about that?
Your Blackhawks, Michael. Over under 1.5 wins remaining this season.
Okay, so I have to believe then that the Blackhawks will win this series and they will beat Jonathan Quick 3 games in a row, including one in L.A., where they have outscored the Blackhawks 9-5 in 2 games. I'm sure that you have statistical reasons why you're going to say the Blackhawks can do this. The Blackhawks are a great team. They won the Stanley Cup last year. The last repeat winner in the Stanley Cup was Detroit in 1998.
It's hard.
So I'm going to go under and just take your fan hat off and give me a reason why I'm wrong.
Because we're 12-0 in games 5, 6, and 7. How you like that? Huh? Can you process that?
Sounds like a fan hat.
12-0 in the last. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you said you're 12-0, would you be a fan? The facts are the facts. 12-0. I'm sorry, reigning champs. Those are the 2 reasons the Blackhawks are going to win. We eliminated Los Angeles last year, I believe, in 5 games.
That's right.
So we beat Jonathan Quick, and we beat him out there.
Last year.
So they're going to win this year, and they're still the champs, and that infuriates you because it's not New York or Los Angeles. Blackhawks win in 7.
Now we've added the I-5.
I will be there at
It's not just I-95. Now we've added I-5. That is great.
I'm surprised you knew that.
Under $2 billion. Next.
Got confused.
No, didn't.
You guys are nuts. Last one. You're going to love this video.
5 and 405, pal.
Excuse me. Over under 1 hit for Bartolo Colon this season.
1 hit. 1 hit. The guy is in the rotation all the time for the Mets. He's already had 10 starts. He's probably going to get 20 more, probably have 40 at-bats more in the season. Sadly, he's 0 for 17 so far, and he swings like a hippopotamus. It's hard for me to believe that a guy can't go 2 for 40, and yet I am still going under on this.
You know, even at 5'11", 375 pounds,
that's a lot.
These guys are phenomenal athletes. No matter who you see out there, no matter what the physique is on a professional athlete, they can do sometimes magical things no matter what the particular sport is.
He's 0 for 17.
And Colon can just at some point pitch in the rest of the season if he's healthy, stick his bat out there and wind up with an accidental hit.
He's 0 for 17.
I'm going to go over.
Yeah, he's 0 for 17. That's it. And over-under is over, and all the Mets pitchers stink as hitters. Time for a break, but on the way, a look back at a painful 4-day stretch for your boy, Jose Canseco.
They got a new pitcher with 4 hits already.
There you go, Wilbon. Who knows?
Jim Harbaugh reveals his expectations for Colin Kaepernick this season. He missed on population theory and I-95.
The I-5 and the I-405.
Why are all
Happy time, people. Happy 30th birthday, Carmelo Anthony. He never delivered on his promise to New York of contending, and now he is committed to at least testing free agency. Phil Jackson says he wants Carmelo, but at a hometown discount. Wilbon, do you see Carmelo staying in New York?
Tony, you know I'd love to have Carmelo in Chicago. If not there, I'd love to see him think about Phoenix, which has a lot of money and a good roster. But I don't see him leaving. I see him staying in New York.
Wow, I didn't expect that. Not so happy anniversary, Jose Canseco. On this day 21 years ago, you injured your arm during a relief appearance for the Rangers. Canseco got roughed up in 1 inning, hurt his arm so badly he needed Tommy John surgery. Just 3 days earlier, Canseco helped a home run over the wall by letting it bounce off his own head.
Tony, who's the more clownish great player all time, Canseco or Manny?
I think Manny, actually. And speaking of Manny, happy trails to Manny Ramirez's first pitch in a charming reversal of the famously bizarre Manny Ramirez cutoff of a Johnny Damon throw 10 years ago. Damon cut off Manny's throw as the Boston Red Sox celebrated the 10th anniversary of their World Series team from 2004. Wilbon, only 2 players from that team, Big Papi and Bronson Arroyo, are even in the major leagues today.
Well, it's been 10 years. The Red Sox know how to celebrate, but they are so self-congratulatory and self-indulgent. I mean, really, okay?
Sure. Knocking I-95 teams. Time to find out what we messed up, Reali.
Jeff Zilgett, USA Today, asked via text message if he was bothered by Stephenson blowing in James' ear. Pacers president Larry Bird replied, Yes. I am.
Yeah.
Jacob deGrom is the Mets pitcher who's 4 for 5 in a cool 800. That's Cologne listed at 283. To be fair to Cologne, 283. And Donald Sterling, the most hated man in America, according to an E-poll market research.
Let's go big finish quickly.
Let's do it.
Jim Harbaugh says Colin Kaepernick looks bionic in minicamp and is poised for a breakout year. Your thoughts?
He's already had a breakout year. Time for a Super Bowl year. Vinny Del Negro strongly considered for that T-Wolves job. I think he'd be a good hire. What about you?
He was good coach in Chicago and with the Clippers. I think, yeah, good hire. The Blue Jays have won 9 in a row. They're on pace for 96 wins. Are you a believer?
I'm on the verge. Give me to the middle of June, though. The nation's top-ranked high school quarterback is going to Texas A&M. Big deal?
Johnny Manziel started this. That place could become quarterback U if this kid works out. Last one, Canadiens and Rangers, Game 6 tonight. Will the Rangers close it out?
No. Canadiens in the Garden, taking the Game 7 back in Montreal.
We're out of
that,
time.
Mr. New York.
We'll try to do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Blue shirts still win Game 7, though. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes.
Brad Pitt, keep your head on a swivel. Shout out.